So a lot of people don't understand, over a 30-year loan, the first 15 years, the majority of your money is going towards the interest. So if you bought a house for $250,000, more than likely you're going to pay, in today's rates, $250,000 in interest to the bank over that 30 years. Technically, if you sold your home after 30 years, it has to be worth $500,000. Welcome back to another episode of Elevate with CJ. I'm your host, CJ, and today we're going to be talking about renting versus owning. You see, everyone tells you that renting is throwing away your money, that if you don't buy a house, you'll never build wealth. But after digging into the real numbers, I discovered homeownership often isn't the golden ticket that people say it is. Between hidden costs, taxes, maintenance, and fees, buying a home might actually cost you more, and renting could leave you more financially free. Let's talk about the truth that homeowners don't want you to know. Quick history about my background. I've worked for Rocket Mortgage for about 3 years. Also had my CHFC, my Series 6, and my Series 63. I was a financial planner. And by the way, I do not have those licenses anymore. I am not a financial planner, and this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. So I've owned homes in the past. I've also rented. I've rented more than I've owned homes across the United States and around the world. A few months ago, I did a deep dive with Grok into renting versus owning. And what I found out shocked me. So everyone says buying is better than renting. They say that you're throwing away your money. I think that that's a myth. I think that if you're renting, you can be just as financially savvy as you are if you're owning. But what about the American dream? I think that that's something that's been sold to us for so long. I think it was sold to us by bankers and realtors, because those are the only two people that I think that actually make money off of selling a house and buying a house. So, but what about the emotional pride of being a homeowner in America? Well, you can be a proud renter in America too, so you don't have to be a homeowner. And who are you trying to impress anyway? But you get pressure. My mom and dad want me to buy a house. They say that that's the American dream, that's the way to go. My friends all say I'm a failure because I don't own a house and I'm renting. My friend, you're not a failure. And your parents might not be right about you owning a home, because back in their day, they could buy a home for $25,000, $50,000, under $100,000. And they've probably did the same job, lived in the same place for most of their life. And so in that instance, yes, owning is better than renting. But if you're like me and many Americans, you go from job to job trying to find the best money that you can get for your work and your talent. And if you need to move and you own a house, that becomes a big deal. So let's look at the true cost of owning a home. When I was doing my study with Grok AI, we did a deep dive into home ownership. I said, let's just calculate everything it takes to own a home. So if you buy your house now and you go to sell it later, guess what? There's realtor fees that are involved. 6% to be exact is what it is. I think they've changed it now where you don't have to quote unquote pay realtor fees, but if you're gonna sell your house, you're gonna pay realtor fees. So you're probably gonna pay at least 6%. So on a $400,000 home that you sold, let's say you bought it for $250 and sold it for $400, you're gonna pay $27,000 to the realtor. If you're buying the house, you've got closing costs. Closing costs include things like property taxes and insurance, title fees, and all that good stuff. So expect to pay anywhere from $5,000 plus. If you're living in Houston, Texas, where I live, I think we paid like $16,000 in closing cost fees for our house, and it's not an expensive house that I live in. Most of that was for the taxes. Insurance here is about $3,000 plus a year. In many instances, is about $6,000 a year. Ongoing maintenance. So if you own your house, you have maintenance. You have to maintain it. You got to take care of things like your lawn. You've got to repaint the walls every now and then. You've got to put down new carpet. You may have to change out your light fixtures. You may have to update your appliances and so on and so forth. You got the mortgage interest over 30 years. So a lot of people don't understand this. And if you'll go and download Carl's mortgage calculator, that's Carl's, K-A-R-L-S, mortgage calculator, you'll find out over a 30-year loan, the first 15 years, the majority of your money is going towards the interest. And if you look at the total interest that you pay on the loan, you're going to find out that you pay. So if you bought a house for $250,000, more than likely you're going to pay, in today's rates, $250,000 in interest to the bank over that 30 years. So you have to factor those types of things in when you're selling your home. So technically, if you sold your home after 30 years, it has to be worth $500,000. You have to be in an appreciated market in order for that to happen. Also, homeowners associations, not everybody has these. They're very popular here in Texas. Those are fees that you're going to have to pay as well. So those dues can go up every year as well. Big ticket item repairs, like a roof on a standard house. You know, you're looking about $11,000 here in Texas to replace a roof. AC unit, you're looking anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 to replace your AC unit, your furnace in your house, and your foundation. If your foundation settles here in Texas, you're looking anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 to get your house re-leveled. You got all those costs that are associated with a house, and over a 30-year period, I guarantee you're going to have to at least replace the roof. If not, when you go to sell the house, they're going to knock it off the price of the house that you sell. Your AC unit's you may be able to limp it along, keep it going by replacing parts, but still it's going to cost you some money over the years. Foundation, pray that never happens at all, but if it does, then you're out that money as well. When you go to sell the house, you might not be making as much money as you thought you were. After you sell your house, or after you pay off your house, let's say you pay off your house after 30 years, you still have to pay insurance, HOA fees, and taxes. And guess what? They go up every year. Your insurance may not go up every year, but you're going to get a big spike every 2 years or so. Your taxes, almost guarantee you, they're going up every year. And your HOA may stay steady for a long time, but it's going to go up at some point. You're still going to have to pay those regardless of whether or not you own your house. So you're still paying money out no matter where you live in the United States. I don't think there's a state that doesn't have property taxes. Maybe there is. Comment below. Let me know if you live in a state that doesn't have property taxes. I'd like to know where that's at. So you're going to have to pay these even after your house is paid for. So let's take a look at how equity really works. You're not building wealth in the early years. If you go and you look at Carl's mortgage calculator, you'll see that like 70% of your payment at the beginning, those first years, are going towards the interest on the loan, and 30% is actually going towards the principal of the loan. So you're not really paying down the loan until really you get to about year 15 on a 30-year loan. But you got mostly interest payments at the beginning, slow principal pay down. Many people in that first 15 years, they'll get a little bit of equity in the house, or the house goes up in value, and they'll take and do a HELOC or a cash out refi and take that money to use it to either pay off debt or to do repairs on the house, like put a new roof on the house, replace the AC unit, maybe put a deck and a pool on the back of the house, something like that. And so they're just going back and they're snowballing their same debt process and making it even worse for themselves, because at the beginning of those loans, you're still paying more on interest. Kind of resets everything. You're paying interest again before you're paying principal. The only way that you're truly profitable in owning your house is if you pay it off in the first 15 years. If you can pay it off in the first 15 years and you stay in the house for at least 20 years. And that's in an appreciating market. You're going to have to be in a market where housing prices are going up. You pay it off decent time, 15 years, and you live in that extra 5 years from 15 to 20, and you're not making payments other than your taxes, insurance, and HOA fees. So that's the only way that I can see that you can actually own a home and you're actually profitable. That's when you're winning. So this whole thing about if you're renting, you're just throwing your money away, that's not true, because you're going to need a place to live and you're going to have to pay money to live there. Once again, if you don't do it that way, more than likely the only people that are making money are the banks and the realtors. So the banks make the interest, realtors make that 6%. Those are the people making money in homes. So what are the advantages of renting? Predictable cost. If I sign a lease for a year and I'm paying $1,800 a month for rent, I know that it's going to be $1,800 a month for the next year. Flexibility. Let's say I get a job offer on the other side of Houston. I need to move over there. I want to be closer to work. I don't want to commute for an hour and a half every day to go to work. If I'm towards the end of my lease, and I've only got 3 months left, I can make the commute for 3 months and then move to that area of town and be able to rent there and be closer to work. Another advantage about renting is during downturns in the economy or inflation goes through the roof like we've seen here recently, gas prices get high, food prices get high, rents are going up, just general cost of living's just through the roof, and so you're struggling financially. Guess what? If you're renting, you can downsize. You can go to a cheaper place. Own a house during that time, guess what? You are going to have to stick through it. You're just going to have to eat less or figure out a way to find a part-time job on the weekends and the evenings or at night in order to make ends meet. So you don't have that opportunity because you don't want to sell your house in a down market, that's for sure, because what happens in a down market? Your house value is going down and buyer's in control and the seller is not. The other advantage is during the good times. So you get stimulus checks, the good times before the bad times. By the way, just note that we got stimulus checks and then everything went bad. There is no freebies in life, okay? But during the good times, you can move into you got some extra money coming in, you got you got some bonuses at work or whatever, you got a better job, you can move into a better place, a place with a pool, a place with a gym, place with walking trails, whatever the case may be, your own private house that you can rent out. You have no maintenance headaches when you're renting. Roof starts leaking, guess what? I'm making a phone call to the landlord. The stove quits working, give a call to the landlord. AC quits working, give a call to the landlord. I don't have to worry about that. And then also another advantage of renting, let's say you're saving up money for a down payment on on a house and you've got $20,000 saved up, well, what about taking that $20,000 and putting it into an S&P 500 for the next 20 years? If you put it in there at the rates that have been historically over the last 30 years, you put $20,000 in and we get the same type of returns that we have had over the last 30 years. Guess what? In 20 years, you'll have $122,000 roughly in your S&P 500 fund. You come out ahead, so you've made your money over the 20 years when owning actually makes sense. Like I said, 15-year mortgage, you plan on staying in there 15 to 20 years. You live in a high appreciation market. There's an emotional stability to owning a home because that's your place. Owning a home is not a bad thing. I'm just saying, if you're a renter and you're stressing out over buying a house and you have to buy a house, don't do it. Don't stress out over that. I mean, you can live renting for years. I did it most of my life. I've rented. I loved it because of the fact that I could just move anywhere I wanted to go. If I got a job offer, across town, across the country, I could go take that job and I wasn't sweating bullets. I would make out a deal with my landlord. I've done this several times where, hey, I got a job over here. I'm going to move out. I still had like 3 or 4 months left on the lease. Show the place. When you get it rented out, tell me and I'll stop paying you and we'll move forward. I think the most I ever paid was an extra month's rent, because they had to go in there and do their maintenance where they repainted stuff and put down new carpet, but that was about it. They rented it out and I moved on with my life, and I was renting 2 places at one time and it was kind of stinky for a little bit, but that's okay. Don't stress out about this stuff. Don't stress out about renting. Don't stress out about owning. Just enjoy your life. Do what you can afford. If you're doing investment property, you're going to have to buy the property and let somebody else rent it and pay you money, but you still have to have a place to live. It goes back to the same thing. Are you going to rent or are you going to own? I'm just talking to the renters today that are stressing out over, I need to buy a house and home prices are so high and interest rates are so high. Believe me, the interest rates will come down at some point again in the future. House prices will have to come down because people can't afford to live there. Here in the near future, from what I'm seeing in the market, housing prices are going to go down just due to the fact that there's more properties available than there are people that are buying right now. And that always causes price reductions. Just stay put, hold on to your money or invest your money in the meantime until you can buy a home if you're absolutely dead set on buying a home, but don't stress over it if you can't do it right now. So overall, renting isn't throwing your money away. It buys you flexibility and freedom. Homeowners is not a bad thing either. If you like this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification for when new videos are uploaded. Comment in the sections about your experiences about renting versus owning, if you've done the same thing as I've done, as rented and owned over the years. And also put down in the comments any questions of future videos you'd like me to cover. Maybe it could be personal finance, maybe it could be just life in general, or what the topics you'd like me to cover. Let's continue to elevate together and elevate with CJ.